Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a magazine-style deep dive that's perfect for text-to-speech, a careful, calm look at what really happened between Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktaş, and why one quiet evening has the entire turkishseries fandom rethinking everything. If you enjoy long, narrative breakdowns like this, please like the video, subscribe, and, if you'd like to support the channel, tap the join button below. Thank you, and let's get into it. For months, viewers followed Dylan and Baron's on-screen journey with a devotion that borders on archival. Fans clipped scenes, catalogued eye contact, and debated whether a pause between two lines was a directorial choice or a moment when the characters forgot to breathe. Off-screen, Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktaş kept their usual discipline: professional answers in interviews, minimal personal detail, no teasing captions designed to whip up headlines. The boundary between performance and private life looked clear. Until a weekend that began like any other and ended with a ring that nobody could ignore. It did not happen on a red carpet or after an award ceremony. It happened in an ordinary Istanbul apartment, the kind with a narrow balcony and a view that sneaks up on you only when the wind lifts the curtains. According to people who were there, the evening was meant to be nothing more than a small get-together after a punishing stretch of night shoots. A tray of tea glasses, a plate of lokum, a few vases of white flowers from a nearby florist, simple, inexpensive, warm. Close friends arrived in twos and threes. Someone plugged a phone into a speaker and played a playlist that sounded like all the late nights of the last year. The most striking detail wasn't the setting but the stillness. There were no stylists, no publicists drifting from room to room, no one whispering about angles and exclusive deals. If you've ever spent time around a set, you know the difference between energy shaped for the camera and energy kept for the people in the room. This was the latter. In that quiet, Barış Baktaş stood, reached into his pocket, and produced a small velvet pouch that looked almost too light to matter. It mattered. He did not perform for footage that didn't exist. He did not rehearse a speech about destiny. What those present remember is a short sentence that sounded exactly like him: "Let's build the part the scripts can't write." Then he opened the pouch. Inside was a ring that wouldn't shout in photographs, an unflashy, beautifully made band whose only job was to last. Yağmur Yüksel laughed the kind of laugh that breaks into a breath, and then she said yes. Someone clapped a little too early. Someone else cried. And for a minute the room felt bigger than its walls. Were there photos? Yes, but the kind families take, with awkward framing and soft focus, the kind you share in a small circle without thinking about what happens if the circle breaks. Which, inevitably, it did. Hours later, 3 images, one of joined hands, one of the ring in a palm, one of 2 shadowed figures on that narrow balcony, appeared on fan pages with no captions and 1,000 theories. Within the day, timelines sprang up: who arrived when, what was on the table, whether the flowers were peonies or garden roses. The internet did what the internet does. How did Yağmur and Barış respond? By not performing a response. They did not issue denials to keep the gossip cycle spinning. They did not upload a glossy "how we got engaged" reel with a sponsored soundtrack. The next afternoon, Yağmur Yüksel posted a single sentence: "Some joys are too honest for a microphone," over a photo of a windowsill and a book with its spine turned away. That evening Barış Baktaş wrote, "Thank you for the gentle messages. We're keeping this simple," and left it at that. No hashtags, no coy winks at the camera, no breadcrumb trail of brand tie-ins. Just a tone, steady, grown, unhurried. Of course, a wave of questions followed. Would this change the turkishseries shooting schedule? Would plotlines be adjusted to echo real life? Would the couple suddenly appear in joint campaigns to capitalize on attention? People close to the production say the answers are the same ones you hear when trust governs decisions. Work remains work. The story on screen remains the story on screen. Personal milestones will not be turned into marketing beats. If anything, the team did one quiet thing that those inside the process will never forget: they nudged the call sheet the next morning to allow the pair a little space to breathe. Nothing dramatic, just enough to let the adrenaline settle before stepping back into character. Why did this land with such force? Because it fit the rhythm of who they've been all along. Yağmur and Barış have kept promotion tidy and unsensational. They give credit to crews. They talk about preparation rather than magic. They're not the kind of leads who turn every offset moment into an episode of their own show. So when something deeply personal did happen, their instinct was the same instinct they've shown with their work: protect it, keep it legible to the people who matter, and let the world find out by watching rather than being told where to look. Does that mean the fandom can't celebrate? Absolutely not. The joy felt real because it was off-script. But if you've ever loved a series enough to parse a look or a breath, you also know what it costs an actor to bring that level of attention to set day after day. The best thing fans can do now is exactly what many are already doing: honoring the boundary they requested, supporting the work as the work, and resisting the urge to turn two human beings into a 24/7 newsfeed. Let the love story exist at the pace it chooses. Paradoxically, that's how it lasts. There's also an artistic dimension here that shouldn't be ignored. Actors who feel anchored in their lives often bring a new kind of range to the material. They risk more because the ground is steady. They listen harder because the noise is lower. If you notice a different color in a scene this season, a softer landing after a hard line, a breath that seems to hold just long enough to count, read it as craft strengthened by calm, not as a sign that the fourth wall has been torn down. The finest compliment to Yağmur, Yüksel and Barış Baktaş is to say that even now, when everyone wants to project real life onto the frame, their choices as performers still feel precise, nuanced, and in service of the story. What about the practicalities that always come next? Venues, dates, guest lists. Don't expect a race. Everything about the way the evening unfolded suggests they'll choose timing that respects both families and both careers. Picture something small and unshowy: a civil ceremony, a dinner where laughter carries further than cameras ever could, a handful of photos that look like moments instead of assets. If a larger celebration happens later, it will be for them, not for us. And that's as it should be. Where does that leave the rest of us? With a simple invitation. Enjoy the series, enjoy the idea that two people who met through an invented love found a real one, and refuse to feed the parts of this machine that treat intimacy like content. If you've been following consistently from the beginning, you know its emotional vocabulary: perseverance, respect, a stubborn insistence that tenderness is not weakness. The way Yağmur and Barış handled this moment speaks that same language. At Keep Up, we'll keep doing what we do best: tracking the work, not the doorways, highlighting the craft, not the gossip, and telling these stories in a way that's clear for text-to-speech and kind to the people inside them. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Did the ring surprise you, or did you always expect their off-screen story to catch up to their on-screen rhythm? Do you want them to co-lead another project right away, or would you prefer a pause before the next collaboration? Your comments shape what we cover next. Thank you so much for watching my video. If this long-form breakdown gave you a calm place to stand in the middle of a noisy news cycle, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Take care, and goodbye.